Hello everyone, are you ready for another adventure? It's me, Wokey, and I'm back with another Fake Grand Order video. And what are we going to be talking about today? Well, today we're going to be talking about the next upcoming things that are going to be happening after the current event is over, which is the Dancing Dragon Castle's pre-release campaign and Interlude Campaign Part 20, along with the banner that's going to be there, which is just a Taigong Wang pickup. That's going to be today's video. I hope you like it. If you do, feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I guess tell me what you're looking forward to, but I'll be honest with you, this is very much a filler week until we get to the actual start of Dancing Dragon Castle and head into Anniversary. So it's kind of, I guess, a good way to kind of just catch up on some interludes and I guess the story as well if you're already fully caught up in interludes. But if you're excited for something, feel free to let me know. I'd be very interested to see it. Maybe there is someone who's like, nah, I've been waiting for this day for Taigong Wang, which I no doubt believe that person exists and is out there. So let's begin. We're going to start with the Dancing Dragons pre-release campaign. That's right, it's going to start on the 4th and it's going to end on the 18th. So the first thing that you're probably thinking of is when does Dancing Dragon Castle actually start? And the answer is we know this now because they announced a stream. So there's going to be a stream on the 11th that will be at 6 p.m. Likely right after this stream ends, the game is going to go into maintenance, which will be there at login. And then around probably 1 a.m., the maintenance will be over and then the event itself will start. So it starts on the 11th. And for some, it will start on the 12th. I'll talk about more about that when we actually have to talk about Dancing Dragon Castle, because by then they'll also announce maintenance to go along with this as well. But that's almost 100% because all the Taigong Wang stuff ends at the 11th. So let's see what they're doing for the pre-release campaign, shall we? So first look at the event bonus servants, plus a variety of campaigns to help you strengthen them, including a 2x chance of super and great suck during enhancements and a 20% bond bonus gained bonus. Wait, and a 20% bond points gained bonus. I don't know why I said bond bonus gained bonus, but that is not correct. And forgive me, I just finished work, so my brain is probably not at the best capacity at the moment. Furthermore, for a limited time, interludes for event bonus servants will be available even if you don't have the featured servant. So this campaign will last from the 4th and go all the way to the 18th. The accrued login bonus for a limited time. To get everything in the login bonus, as long as you remember to log in for 7 days, which is the max amount, you will get a total of 3 St. Quartz, golden apple. It always freaks me out that they call it the golden fruit and not just the golden. This is clearly an apple. This is clearly an apple. I don't know why I know an apple's a fruit, but it still messes me up every time I see it. The 5 3-star foe for attack and HP, along with 2 million QP. The login bonus will go from the 4th to the 18th. And to be eligible for it, you have to have cleared Singularity F at the bare minimum. And then once you do that, this will pop up. So make sure to go ahead and do that. Next, the advance notice for event bonus servants. These will be the following units that will have a bonus during the event itself: Suzuki Gozen, Sei Shotogan, Emiya, Leonardo da Vinci caster and writer, Murasaki Shikabu, Waver, Thomas Edison, Gray, Lacosta, Sakata Kintoki, Tamamo Cat, Kiyohime, and Mash Kirya Light. And for during the limited time event, Dancing Dragon Castle, the Princess in the Deep Sea, and the 2 Gems, long ass name, there's no way I'll ever be able to say anything but Dancing Dragon Castle. Certain servants will gain an attack strength bonus and a bond point bonus as well. Go into that a little bit more when we actually have to talk about the event itself, but just to let you know. Also, all the interludes for event bonus servants will be unlocked and AP cost will be 1/2. So if you don't own any of the specific servants, this is a great time to go do them. I know Caster Da Vinci has one that I've been meaning to do for an extremely long time. They count towards your missions, plus it's story bits that would typically be unlocked for you that would be locked away for you until you actually get the characters themselves. And if you don't plan to go for certain limited servants, when they're featured on campaign like this, it's a smart idea to go ahead and do them. And the campaign period for this will go from the 4th to the 18th. And there we go. As a part of the Interlude Campaign Part 20, AP cost for all interludes has been reduced to 1/2 until the 11th. This will not stack with the 1/2 AP cost reduction for interludes from the Dancing Dragon Castle, the Princes of the Deep Sea, and the 2 Gems pre-release campaign. Interludes that are eligible for both campaigns will remain at 1/2 AP costs. They have so many like concurrent 1/2 AP costs that they have to be like, here you go, here's how they all fucking work. So the ones that actually have interludes are Sasuke Gozen, who has 2 of them, Sei Shonagun, who has 2 of them. There's also a skill strengthening in one of the Suzuka Gozens. Emiya has 2 of them, and one of them includes a Noble Phantasm strengthening. If you're wondering how this works if you don't have the unit, when you do eventually get the unit, their Noble Phantasm or their skill will just be upgraded for you, and you don't have to complete the interlude again. Leonardo da Vinci Caster has 2 interludes, and the second one gives a strengthening to the Noble Phantasm. Waver has 3 interludes, and the third one gives him a Noble Phantasm strengthening. Thomas Edison has a single interlude, and that gives you a skill strengthening. Kintoki has 2 of them that are just regular. Tomomokat has 2 interludes, and one of them gives you a Noble Phantasm strengthening. And finally, Kiyohime, she has 1 interlude, and that gives you just a sweet 2 Sing Quartz. Rank up quest AP cost 1/2 for event bonus servants for a limited time. This will be here from the 4th to the 18th. This is self-explanatory, but the units that are going to be applied for this are going to be Suzuka Gozen, Sei Shonagun, Emiya, Leonardo da Vinci, the caster version, Murasaki Shikabu, Thomas Edison, Gray, Sakata Kintoki, Tomomokat, and Kiyohime. 2 times for, I guess I should say for Kintoki, it is the Berserker version and not the Rider version. For everything I've mentioned so far. 2 times friend points gained for event bonus servants for a limited time during the period listed below. Eligible servants will award double friend points when you choose them as a support in the battles, and when other masters use them for their support lineups. Use this chance to earn a lot of friend points. And the campaign period for this goes from the 4th to the 11th. And it's all the bonus servants I mentioned off beforehand. 20% increase to bond points gained for event bonus servants, limited time. Event bonus eligible servants will receive a 20% increase to bond points gained in all quests from the 4th to the 11th. And 2 times chance of super and great super and great suck when enhancing event bonus servants. You can tell I'm tired because I wanted to say success when I always say suck. Anyway, the chance of super suck, double EXP required, and great suck, which is triple, when performing servant enhancements will be doubled for a limited time. Use this opportunity to strengthen your servants. And the campaign period is again the 4th to the 18th. And there you go. Now we'll go to the other piece of news here, which is of course the Interlude Campaign, Part 20. Fun fact about this one, I remembered someone in the comments saying like, hey, they might skip Interlude Campaign Part 20, and I said, I don't really think they will. But he said like, no, they've done it in the past, so I think they'll likely do it again. And I said, I guess we'll wait and see what they do. And there we go. This time I was right. I had forgotten that they had done that in the past, so it was actually a pretty good, I'm like, I don't know, 50-50 maybe. But no, it's actually here. So Interlude Campaign Part 20. It's here from the 4th to the 11th. Interlude Campaign Part 20 will be ongoing for a limited time. Enjoy a special accrued login bonus, a double chance of super suck and great suck for the 2 servants with new interludes and other helpful campaigns. And the period, like I said beforehand, is the 4th to the 11th. The 2 featured of them are of course going to be Dobrynya Nikitich and Taigong Wang, and they will get new interludes. For both of them permanently. Interludes for Taigong Wang and Nikitich will be available from the date below. Clearing an interlude will grant Sing Quartz, strengthen one of the eligible servant skills, or strengthen their Noble Phantasm. Here's Taigong Wang's. His gives 2 Sing Quartz, so there's no upgrade, but for Nikitich, it is an upgrade to her Noble Phantasm, which will gain the following effects. Increased Buster Card effectiveness, 1 turn effect increases with overcharge for yourself, plus deal heavy defense ignoring damage strengthened, and inflict burn and decrease defense for all enemies, and slightly increase NP for all allies added, and of course there will also be a damage boost as well for that as well. And then the eligible interludes are available for even if you don't have the featured servants for a limited time. So even if you don't have Taigong Wang or Dobrynya Nikitich, then no problem, because for that limited time, you'll be able to do either of them. So if you don't have either of them and you don't plan to get them super quickly, it's a good idea to go ahead and do them. But the temporary requirements to actually do them would be clear, prologue, ordeal call 0. So be aware of that as well. You have to have caught up to at least Ordeal Call 0. You have to have cleared the prologue. 2 times chance of super and great suck during enhancement for eligible servants, limited time. Both of them will of course get the suck if you so wish them to get the double or triple EXP chance. And then also the interludes will be half costed. And the Interlude Campaign Part 20 special login bonus for a limited time. If you follow this one right here, which will be over 5 days, you'll get the following items for keeping up for the 5 days, which is 2 summon tickets and also around 9 5 EXP, which is a very specific and weird amount. Okay, just I don't know why they didn't just make it 5. I feel like 5 is a good. The 3 is a weird ass number to do for a login, but whatever. I don't know. I can't currently perceive in their mind why they would do that. And now we'll go to the banner, which is this is the pickup summon. And it will be here from the 4th to the 11th, which again, this ends exactly when the new event starts. So that makes a lot of sense. Now, both of these units are permanent. So the only reason you would ever want to be summoning on this one is that you really want the featured chance to get a Taigong Wang or a Dobrynya Nikitich. Otherwise, for most people, it's a pretty easy skip. You really shouldn't be summoning on this, especially when we are so close to anniversary. Like at this point, we are 4 weeks and 2 days away from anniversary, which is going to be on the 4th of July. I don't know. It's extremely risky, but if you're someone who is already super prepared for Taigong Wang or Nikitich, either one of them, because you're like, oh no, I want not only additional NP copies, but I'm also looking to get additional coins because I also want to level 120 of them and have a full. You don't understand. I have a shrine to both of these and I just love them so much I have to do this, Wokey. Then I wish you the best of luck. But if you do not have that kind of dedication, do not be summoning. Very easy on this one. Now, in terms of what they do, I guess I can kind of go over. I have to now transition over to the other site if I want to talk about the unit, so we're going to go ahead and do that right now. I mean, the video is about 11 minutes right now. It's actually going to be 12 seconds and a couple seconds here, 12 minutes and a couple seconds. So we'll transition at 12 right now. Transition complete. And here we are on the other site to talk about these units. I really feel like, again, because they are general pool units, you should not be summoning for them unless you got that dedication in it. But I also feel like 12 minutes is an extremely short video on my side. So we'll very quickly go over these two just to make it a little bit longer, see if we can get to the 15-minute mark. And we're going to start with Nikitich, who is a 4-star in the general pool, so she's not limited, and she is a writer, if I did not mention that beforehand. And she has the following breakdown. She has 1 quick, 2 arts, 2 buster, 3 hits on quick, 2 hits on arts, 3 hits on buster, and 5 hits on extra. Her first active skill is the Eternal Young War Maiden B+. Grants self gut status for 1 time 3 turns. Grants self the debuff immunity for 1 time 3 turns. Gain crit stars every turn for 3 turns. Heals 3000 HP when the guts is triggered. 10-star regen and 6. This is on a cooldown of 6. Her second skill is the Belza Damask Shining White Dragon Slaying Armaments A. I really wanted to call it the Blue Eyes White Dragon there. Increases own arts performance for 3 turns, increases own buster performance for 3 turns, then increases own damage against dragon enemies for 3 turns. 30% to arts, 30% to buster, and 50% to dragons. And this is on a cooldown of 6. Her third skill is the Belza Burko, My Beloved Shining White Horse EX. Charges own NP gauge, increases party's critical damage for 3 turns, and then increases the party's damage against dragon enemies for 3 turns. 20% to NP, 30% to crit damage, and 30% to dragon damage. And this is on a cooldown of 5. Her third skill is the Anti-Alter Ego Attack Damage Aptitude, which increases own attack against alter ego enemies, as I should have stated that pretty easily. And this is the upgrade to her Noble Phantasm, which is the Zemai Gorniach. Forgive me for completely butchering that. I did not say that right at all. The evil dragon comes and vomits sin? I do not remember that being the name of this Noble Phantasm when I last talked about her. I feel like I would have remembered that. Anyway, rank A+, anti-unit, anti-army, hits 4 times. It's a buster. It deals damage that ignores defensive buffs to all enemies. It inflicts burn with 1000 damage for 3 turns to them, reduces their defense by 20% for 3 turns, and then charges party's NP gauge by 10%. That is one of the new effects. At MP level 1, the damage is 400%, and if you get it all the way to MP level 5, it's 600%. And then an increased own buster performance for 1 turn activates first. It's 20% at charge level 1, and if you get it all the way to the final charge level, it's 40%. And if you wanted to see how it was like before that, feels a little bit blank here, so it's a decent little upgrade here, especially with a little bit bonus to the damage as well. And then we go over here to her Bonzi, which is the Taigong Wang. When it's equipped to Dobrynya, it increases party's damage against dragon enemies by 15%, and then increases party's critical damage by 15% while she is on the field. And that is Nikitich. So how do I feel about Nikitich? I feel that she's okay if you're looking for someone who specifically is just going to take down a whole bunch of dragons. I do like that her third skill is a party-wide, giving bonus damage against dragons. I think that's very nice. The second skill being super damage focused to dragons, being 50%, is also pretty nice. And if you get her all the way to bond level 10, and if you were using her for the specific purposes of like using the bond C and getting that far off, which is not something most people are going to do, I'm just saying if you did that, also giving an additional 15% to the party for dragon damage is really nice. So if you're looking for someone to take down dragons, she is literally your girl on this one. Also the buff to the Noble Phantasm has fixed kind of a little bit of something. So the one thing that I've always found kind of annoying with Nikitich is that in terms of like looping, she only gives herself about 20% starting NP, which is very annoying because the starting amount that you want is 30%, and 30%, the reason is that so then you can start with a C that gives you 50%, and then the 20% from your mana charge, which is on your second skill, mana loading, that will give you 20%, and then you use the last 30% to get your 100% charge. You use the Noble Phantasm, double Koyan, you bring them in, they lower your cooldown so that you're able to use this again, and then you bring in Oberon for this third loop, and then you use Oberon 70% plus 30% from this one, and then you're able to do like a full-on Buster loop. That's a very basic bread and butter Buster combo. It's something simple. It's something that if you, at the bare minimum, if a Buster unit is going to be at least somewhat usable, if they can do that, that'd be very nice. She doesn't have that, which is a little bit of annoying because you can see here the NP is 20%. The thing that's nice is that this NP at least does charge the party's NP gauge by 10%, which would mean that she'd be able to start with a 10%. So on the follow-up turns of the second and the third one, she would be able to then just kind of easily use with Oberon. Doesn't change the fact that on the first turn, you're still kind of a little bit out of luck on that one. And I wish they had actually just buffed this third skill so that she can finally give herself 30% or even more, to be honest with you, if they want to go that way. So that's something I find kind of annoying with it, but I've always liked the look of Nikitich. I think she looks super cool as this like giant cat, this cat riding a dragon. And I think that's pretty neat in my opinion. That's usually enough for me. So if that's also enough for you, I think that you will find a way to work around with a lot of the stuff here. Maybe you go for a little bit slightly different team in that instance. Or maybe you pick a little bit of a different of a CE choice. Maybe you go with something that gives you a starting of 70%. So then you can just always start, or you start with 100% or something like that. You know, Kaleidoscope, something like that. You know, you'll figure out ways around her if you end up liking her. I would like it if they just kind of continued to give her a little bit more buffs, because I think that she's kind of a neat dragon supporter. I just wish they gave her a little bit more, and I think that's probably fair enough. So that's Nikitich. And now we'll move on to Taigong Wang. So here is Taigong Wang. He is not limited, so he's in general pool. He's a rider. He has 2 quicks, 2 arts, 1 buster, 4 hits on quick, 3 hits on arts, 3 hits on buster, 5 hits on extra. His active skills are the original Art of War A+, increases party's quick performance for 3 turns, increases party's attack for 3 turns, increases party's NP damage for 3 turns, 50% to quick, 15% to attack, and 15% to NP damage, and this is on a cooldown of 7. His second skill is God's Execution B, seals all enemies' skills for 1 turn and increase damage against the divinity enemies for 3 turns, and then also increases damage against the demonic enemies for 3 turns, 50% to divinity and 50% to demonic, and this is on a cooldown of 6. His third skill is the Philosophy Key Crest EX, charges own NP gauge, charges party's NP gauge, 30% to his own NP gauge, and to the party it's an additional 20%, and this is on a cooldown of 6. His one single passive skill is Writing A+. His third skill is an anti-foreigner attack damage aptitude, and his noble phantasm is the God's Smiting Whip, Da Shen Bian, rank EX, anti-divine. It's quick, it hits 6 times. Deals damage to all enemies and deals 150% extra damage to divine enemies. And at NP level 1, it's 600%, and if you get them all the way to NP level 5, it's 1000. And then his overcharge effect is to reduce their quick resistance for 3 turns. At charge level 1, it's 20%, and if you get them all the way to the final charge level, it is 40%. And his Bond C is the God's Smiting Whip. When equipped to Taigong Wang, it increases the party's damage against divine enemies by 15%, and then also increases the party's damage against demonic enemies by 15% while he's on the field. And that is Taigong Wang. How do I feel about Taigong Wang? Let's see. I like Taigong Wang. So what do I like about him? I think all 3 of his active skills are really good. This third skill, letting him start with 50% NP, because gives himself 30 and then the party 20, so that's a starting of 50. That means he can start off with 50% pretty easily. And then the second skill over here, mana loading, can let him also start with another 20%, so he can start off with a cool 70%. Means he can also pretty easily grind with the Black Grail, which is always a nice bonus, especially for quick servants, because a lot of the time many of them need it for the additional damage that they need to actually complete their loop. The second skill, he can give himself increased damage against the divine and the demonic, which in this game there are plenty of enemies that are divine, there's plenty that are demonic, and there's just enough of them that are both of them that this can give him a cool 100% damage bonus, which is really nice. And if you're in a challenge quest because you wanted to bring him against someone who is either divine, demonic, or both of them, usually divine is the main one you would try and go against. He can also seal their skills for a single turn, which is real nice. This first skill also really nice because it also applies to the party. It also is kind of relevant since you'll be also either going with Summer Scotty or regular Scotty. And for Summer Scotty, it is nice to kind of give her a little bit of a damage boost as well as you're doing everything else. And you can use him as your main DPS. You can also kind of use him as a DPS that can show up for like a single wave, maybe take down a really low powered mob and then just kind of leave. And then save your NP for later stuff, and then they can kind of do it. The one thing that's always been a bummer about using quick servants is that some of them have trouble looping for all 3 stages. But if you can do something like this where you can bring in Taigong Wang, you can handle one thing, you can take him out, and then you can leave it to something else. That's really good, especially if it's a case where maybe there's a fight where it's a single wave of dudes and then a oneer and a oneer. You can use Taigong, use your NP, he does his business, he buffs the other quick unit that you're using, you can then swap him out, and then you can use your with the other quick supports that you have on your side. And it's another interesting way of kind of like doing team building that isn't also just using the basic, like, yes, I know everyone knows that Oberon is the best at doing anything, and if you wanted just a pure generic support, you could very easily go with Oberon. But if you want to go in a little bit different direction, I'm not saying it's necessarily better, I'm just saying not everyone likes to always use the same units. And then for some people, like me for example, who has Bond 15 on their supports, sometimes it's just nice to be able to use another unit and kind of get more use out of them and use them in specific ways, like for farming and things. And yeah, that's what I really like about him. Now we have to talk about the thing I don't really like about him. I'm not a big fan of his Noble Phantasm in terms of what it does. The 150% extra damage to divinity enemies is a little bit like, this is good, don't get me wrong on that, but I really wish this was on overcharge, because that way he'd be able to scale with a lot more damage, especially as you get him in later NP copies and stuff like that. And the other thing I don't really like is that this overcharge effect of reducing their quick resistance for 3 turns applies after he uses his Noble Phantasm. So that means you will not be able to take the benefit of it while you're using him, and that can really kind of hurt if you're specifically not fighting against the divine, because you'll notice that he's really good if he's fighting against the divine, because I'll have 200% damage bonus. But if you're not fighting against the divine, you can kind of run into some issues, like unless you're using something like the Black Rail to compensate for the damage, he can run into issues where you're just not going to be good enough, or even worse than that, you're not going to be able to return to minimum 50% NP, which is what you need to be for a quick unit to be able to go for the other ones, unless you're using even more specific team builds that can kind of compensate for that. It's a lot. This is, to be fair, it's more a problem with Quick. It's not really him. It's a Quick problem, and he's definitely one of them that can suffer from Quick issues. But I guess, to be fair, every single Quick unit can kind of suffer from that, which is why a lot of people don't like putting up with the effort, but I do, because I think Taigong Wang is really cool. I do like him. I think he's neat. I liked him in the story when we got to see him. I think all his outfits are cool. I like that he goes fishing on his Noble Phantasm. I like that sometimes the fishing rod, he loses it. I think that's really cool. So yeah, the only, and I also like that he is general pool, so even though I really do like him and I would like additional copies of him, I think it's better for me to just kind of hope and pray that I get a random one off the top. And that would be my way of going for Taigong Wang. Or maybe for someone who's like super looking forward to him, you can also eventually pick him up with a ticket, which is another nice thing to have for general pool SSRs whenever we do get SSR tickets and stuff like that. So yeah, that's Taigong Wang, everyone. That's the end of the video, everyone. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate you guys. If you want to continue to show appreciation, you can leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me what you plan to do if you end up summoning for this. If you actually stood for the entire video and listened to me talk for this long, when this video could have easily have been ended at the 12-minute mark when I said don't summon on this unless you're dedicated. I appreciate you guys for sticking to the end. I'll see you guys in the next video, whatever it may be. And until next time, bye-bye, peace out, and good luck!